Good morning, everyone. I'm Devonte Emokpae, and today we're going to talk about one of the most critical skills every founder needs to have and master: building MVPs that actually work fast, lean, and effective. Now, I've been an engineer for over 2 decades, and I've seen brilliant founders fail, not because their ideas weren't good, but because they spent 18 months building the perfect product that nobody wanted. I've also seen founders launch MVPs so basic that they learned nothing and wasted precious time and money. Today, I want to share the framework we use at Pulse to build MVPs that maximize learning while minimizing resources. We call it the skateboard to car approach, and it saved our companies millions of dollars and months of development time. But before we dive into the technical framework, I need to address something that Carlos D'Souza said. And by the way, one of the greatest product and design minds I've ever worked with, and what he talked about in the last session: culture, communication, and alignment. You absolutely need these three pillars to ensure you know what is enough and when is the right time to release. Because here's the thing: you can have the perfect technical process, but if your team isn't aligned on what success looks like, if you don't have open communication about trade offs, and if your culture doesn't support rapid iteration and learn from failure, your MVP will either never ship or ship at the wrong time. The skateboard to car approach only works when everyone understands we're building a skateboard first and not a broken car. Let me start with the biggest mistake I see founders make. They think MVP means minimum viable product. But here's the thing: that's not what MVP really stands for. MVP stands for maximum value with minimum resources, maximum speed, and maximum learning. The traditional thinking goes like this: let's build a car, but first we'll build the engine and then the wheels and then the body. By the time you're done, you spend 2 years building something nobody wants. Skateboard to car approach says, let's help people get from point A to point B first. We'll give them a skateboard. It works. It moves people, and they can use it today. Then a scooter, then a bike, and then a motorcycle, and then finally we get them that car. So each iteration is a complete solution that provides real value. So to break this down a little bit, let's kind of look at the methodology in 5 phases. Phase one: this is the absolute minimum viable solution. It should solve the core problem, even if manually, work end to end, even if it's clunky, and should generate real user feedback, cost almost nothing to build, and it should be something that you can throw away and start over. Then in phase two, you add one key improvement, and this addresses the biggest pain point from the skateboard. Automate the most repetitive task, add basic user interface, scale to handle more users. And phase three, you then add self-service capabilities, basic automation, maybe some analytics. But this is kind of where you're adding the pedals and let users do more themselves. Then we move on to the bicycle. We'll move on to the motorcycle. This is where you add power, introduce sophisticated features, advanced automation, and you enhance the user experience. Then we go to our car, our full feature solution. Here you have more of a complete automation, where appropriate advanced features and integrations, scalable architecture, and here's where most founders waste money. They think they need to custom everything. Wrong. Your MVP should be 80% existing service stitched together with 20% custom code that delivers unique value. You should look to be building as much with free services. And so some free cheap services that save months. One of the biggest ones: authentication. Don't build this. You want to use something like Clerk Zero, Superbase Auth, and my favorite, Kinda. Free tiers handle thousands of users, gets you all out, password resets, and user management instantly. My rule, if Kinder can do it, don't build it. The database, start simple. Superbase or Planet Scale has free tiers. They have real-time features included and auto scaling without you even thinking about it. Only pay when you actually have users. Payments, use Stripe. It handles all compliance and tax issues. International payments out of the box is free to integrate and you only pay per transaction. Don't build payment processing ever. You're never going to get it right, and you're just going to have a lot of headaches. Email, resend or SendGrid. Professional email delivery, templates, and automation built in. Large free tiers for early stage. And the deliverability that actually works. Storage, R2, AWS, S3. This has image optimization, CDNs, and free tiers that covers MVP's needs. Global distribution, automatically. See, the pattern here is use services for everything that's not your core differentiator. Your unique value should be the only thing you build from scratch. Think of your MVP as Lego blocks, not custom sculptures. We use what I call the micro package approach. Very small, focused packages that compose well together. We have things like our foundation blocks where we have our design system, components, the layouts. We have our data with API client, schema validation, auth system, which then is just a wraparound Kinder, and forms that we've already built for different things with validation built in. Then we go to our next level, the feature blocks. We'll then compose some of these things together to make slightly bigger pieces. And we'll then have some of the bigger tooling with like the Stripe integration and the payments, emails, and CMS. This approach means you build once and you use everywhere. When we built Wikasa, the property platform, we reused 80% of our UI components from Pulse line. That saved us 3 weeks of development time. Now, here's where this gets really exciting. With the rise of LLMs, the building block pattern has become extremely beneficial when working with AI. I rarely see an LLM hallucinates when we build products with it because all the core and important parts are built by human hands. That just connects these things together. When you combine extremely strict TypeScript definitions with very strong linting and static analysis, you literally cannot go wrong. The LLM knows exactly what interface to work with, what functions are available, and what expected inputs and outputs are. It's like giving an intern a strong weapon and just letting them go. This ensures consistency and speed when you work with AI systems. It prevents the hallucinations and errors that come from building everything from scratch. Every feature request gets evaluated against 3 questions. Does this help us learn something? Does this help us learn something critical about our market? Will users pay for this specific capability? And can we build this in less than 1 week? 40% of your time should be building core functionality. 4% should be talking to users, and 20% should be setting up infrastructure and tooling. Most founders get this backwards. They spend 80% building and 20% talking to users. That's why they build nothing that nobody wants. The perfect user experience trap. You spend months polishing the onboarding flow for users you don't have yet. We make it work, then we make it pretty. I've seen beautiful apps with 0 users and ugly apps with millions of users. Guess which ones got funded? Then the scalability of premature optimization. Don't forget 1 million users. Focus on getting your first 100 users. Scale when there's a problem. Then the feature creep spiral. Just one more feature and then we'll launch. Set a hard launch, then stick to it. Then the custom everything syndrome. Build your own user authentication. But it's not that hard. If it exists as a service and it's not your core differentiator, use the service. The time is better spent on what you is unique. And then the no feedback development, building in isolation for months without showing anyone. Show some to users every week. It's embarrassingly basic. Your MVP success should focus on learning, not vanity. Your learning should be how quickly can you validate core assumptions? How well do you think that this is how well do you think that this is going? What percentage of users complete the core workflow? What features do your users request the most? And where do users drop off in your funnel? They can add vanity metrics, total signups without engagements, social media followers, press mentions, awards and recognition. Three critical questions. Do people want this? Will they pay for this? Can we build a business around this? Business model validation. So MVP should answer at least one of these questions definitively. Now, the technical architecture for speed. The stuff that we use is Next.js with React and TypeScript. We have the backend that we usually start off with is it would either be just using Next.js APIs on Vercel, or doing something more with Superbase. And if we really need to get to it, we get AWS serverless. Our database is usually Postgres in some way via Superbase, and quite a lot of times just using Redis. Even though it's a cache, it also makes for a very, very strong database if you structure your data correctly and add validation on either side. Our auth, Kinda. Payments, Stripe. Like I said, we deploy a lot of times to Vercel, but also AWS. There's many ways you can organize your code, and I won't get into it right now, but we like personally using a mono repo for a lot of things and using PNPM workspaces. And then this way you can split between your apps and your packages, and your packages can then be able to just compose those apps. So when your skateboard finally needs to become a car, you need to look at triggers. You need manual processes that become unsustainable, declare patterns of user behavior, specific pain points that are identified through usage, and this way you then have the skateboard to scooter trigger. Then for scooter to bicycle triggers, users start asking for things like self-service capabilities, support load becoming overwhelming, clear feature requests from paying customers. Key principles: only evolve when current solution breaks down, not because you think it should be better. So, the action items you should have for your MVP. This week, define your core value proposition in one sentence. Identify the manual way to deliver this value today, and list all the services you can use instead of buying or building. Build your skateboard version and show it to 5 people. The next week, implement feedback from the first 5 users. Set up basic analysis to track user behavior. Create a simple landing page to collect email addresses. Plan your scooter improvements based on user feedback. By month 1, you launch a scooter version to 50 beta users. Implement one key automation based on usage patterns. Set up payment processing for early monetization. And plan bicycle features based on user requests. Remember, an MVP isn't about building a small version of your vision. It's about finding the fastest and cheapest way to test whether your visions work to at all. The job as a founder isn't to build the perfect product. It's to build something that people want, prove they'll pay for it, and then make it better. The skateboard might be embarrassing, the scooter might feel basic, but if there's some real problem, users will be grateful for any solution, even an imperfect one. One of the things they say is, if you're not If you're not embarrassed by your first iteration of your product, then you took too long. So building MVPs, it's not about cutting corners. It's about being strategic with your most important precious resources, time and money. Every day you spend building features nobody wants is a day you're not learning what they actually need. So start with a skateboard, make it work, get feedback, iterate fast, and your future customers, they don't care how elegant your code is. They care whatever you solve their problems and how you do it. The founders who win aren't the ones with the most sophisticated MVPs. They're the ones who learn fastest and adapt quickest. So go build your skateboard. Show it to real users. Get real feedback. And remember, done is better than perfect, but learning is better than both. Thank you. Let's build some MVPs that actually matter.